Welcome to the Info Aptiva PLM's Peace session. My name is Carmelo Marafiotti. I'm the Vice President of Product Lifecycle Management here at Infor, and today we are going to talk about PLM. So here's the agenda. We'll go through an Aptiva PLM overview. We then are going to hear it directly from the customer's mouth at Dr. Pepper, and we're going to end this Peace session with a live dive into the application by our Senior Solution Consultant, Eric Crooms. So what is PLM? What is Product Lifecycle Management? Well, every organization that is selling a product practices Product Lifecycle Management. Whether they have a solution or not, that is the difference. Right? Usually company starts with Excel files and PDF files and their own homegrown solutions, and then they reach a pivotal point when they realize that in order to grow to the next level, they need a enterprise level solution such as Aptiva. So in PLM, you manage your ingredients. For example, what are the rules that it takes for my company to approve a new raw material? Who approves it? What criteria must the product meet, and etc. Okay. What are the specifications? You then put all those ingredients together. You create formulas, and again, for those formulas, you create rules, and with the approval workflows in the background. From there, you generate labels. You follow regulations, make sure you're in compliance. For example, you're selling a product in a certain region. You want to know if there is a substance that is allowed or not. And all of this is governed by workflow in the background. When you're finally done developing, right, through perhaps many iterations, you then integrate the information with your ERP. And there now you're going to have a bidirectional exchange of information. Okay, but that's what PLM is. It is the front end management of the development or modification process cycle the company used to develop and manage the changes for their products. In Aptiva, we support an integrated stage gate methodology. You can start all the way from the ideation, okay, and then move into a concept development, to the designing of the prototype in the laboratory, validation, and give you an example of validation. Let's say you're making a food item, and it needs to be made in a plant, right? So if you're making a food item and you're going to label your item perhaps kosher, for example, you need to make sure that you have the kosher certification. Okay, Aptiva can help you get those checks in place before that item goes to the plant. Okay, so that workflow is going to check, do we have a certification? Is it valid? Who approved it? Where is it? Here is a copy of it. Okay, to the launch and commercialization, and finally, one of the most important stages is the post-launch, because there is when you go back in and you reevaluate and make the processes better, right? So you get better at producing your products. Okay. So in Aptiva, we also manage the meeting of guidelines and restrictions. Okay. So if you have a check if a substance is allowed in a certain region, or for example, you might want to have a customer-specific guidance. You might say customer A does not allow over a certain amount of this material, or no excess sodium, or whatever that rule is. You can certainly manage it in Aptiva. Okay, and we meet complex regulatory and compliance constraints, and those can impact formula management, label management, package, automated allergens, okay, nutritional recommended daily value, and nutritional calculations. We also ensure specification compliance. Not only the specification of the material you purchase, because we can certainly ensure that you're compliant there by having a functionality such as, for example, automatic recertification of documents, but also your internal documents you produce and you then distribute to your customers or vendors. Okay, it's very important. And labeling compliance, extremely important. We make sure that the information that Aptiva theoretically calculates to put on your label is accurate, okay, and on time. There is no reason why it should take you hours or even minutes to develop a label. Okay, organization today should have a system that within seconds at the click of a button should develop a label. Okay, and now let's move to the customer innovation study from Dr. Pepper's Snapple Group. Let's hear directly from
Bob Wimpheimer. I'm Senior Manager of Knowledge Management at R&D in Dr. Pepper Snapple Group. So Dr. Pepper Snapple Group is the third largest beverage company in North America. We have about 50 different brands that we sell. We have a research and development department that creates our new products, does line extensions, comes up with new ideas for products. I help them manage that information using our Optiva solution along with a SharePoint document storage system. Lately, we have also expanded our use of the tool to include our procurement colleagues and also our quality colleagues as we've been expanding the footprint of the tool to cover more area within our company. So our product developers will start off with an initial concept. We have to know something about the ingredients that they're using in that prototype before they can even bring it into our pilot plant, because our pilot plant has to meet certain quality standards. So Optiva is used to help us ensure that we meet those requirements. Once they've done some consumer testing on a prototype, one or more of the prototype formulas may be selected to proceed further. Optiva helps us to manage that process. So how does regulatory check the formulas that are in Optiva? Optiva keeps track of that information, and as the product developer does their product development, that information rolls up to the formula so that we know whether or not that formula in turn has a particular allergen or not, or whether it is contains genetically modified ingredients or not, or whether it is organic or not. When it comes time for the regulatory analyst to review the formula, we use another module within Optiva called the guidelines module that it actually checks to see if we use certain ingredients, did we exceed a permissible threshold of how much of that ingredient is in the product. In the United States, recently the FDA has made changes in the requirements for nutrition labeling. And what that means is that virtually every food company is going to have to redo every single label on every single product over the next couple of years. That's a huge amount of work for us. The process that our regulatory people had been using involves a lot of manual effort. It involves several different systems. We came up with a plan to do all of what they're currently doing manually within our Optiva solution. We were able to cut the time that it takes to create the label output at least in half. On top of that, the error rate has gone down at least 90%. In our industry, an error that finds its way outside of the business to, for example, the back of our labels, that can have consequences for us as a business. Having Optiva in place gives us much more confidence that when we deliver something to the business, we know it's right. Most recently, we implemented our label content module, and again, that's collecting information that shows up on the label of our products, so the ingredient statements and the nutrition facts. That module winds up connecting for us formulas that are related to each other, but that relationship isn't really manifested anywhere else in the tool. So what used to be sort of folk wisdom, tribal knowledge type stuff has now actually been encoded into the system in a way that is useful to us.
Wow, that was a great video. 90% reduction in material waste. 50% reduction in label processing time. It's amazing. And 50% cost savings for the license and implementation versus competition. Okay. And now, let's take a live dive into Optiva. And to present this is going to be Mr. Eric Kroms, our Senior Solution Consultant at Infor.
Hi, my name is Eric Kroms, and I'm a Solution Consultant here at Infor. Today we're going to be taking a look at Optiva Product Lifecycle Management. We'll first start by looking at the project management capabilities. Getting your products to market faster than your competitors is essential. Next, we'll talk about Optiva's capabilities as it relates to formula and material management. Accurate data and consistent processes are essential to making sure that your products are safe and labeled correctly. So with that, let's begin. So here we are at the user homepage. The user homepage is a centralized location where users of the system can configure their views however they need to. You'll notice that as we look at these pages, they're made up of different widgets. Each one of these boxes is considered a widget. The information contained within each of the widgets can come from different places within your enterprise. For instance, here I have bookmarks that are coming from Optiva. I have threaded posts which are coming from our social space. I can get alerts coming in from both PLM and ERP systems alike. Off here to the right-hand side, I've got a filtered view of some documents that I'm managing. And down at the bottom, I have a quick link to a web page that I might be accessing on a regular basis. We can add as many of these pages as we want. As I click through the screen, you'll see that I have a number of different pages set up. Here we're looking at a projects page. Imagine, if you will, you can set up one of these pages to look at all of the information required to manage your current project list. Here I can see feedback as to how all my different projects are tracking. Down at the bottom, again, I have some filtered views for some documents that are directly related to projects that I'm working on. And I can further slice and dice the information using these self-service tools that I have down here in the corner. I could take it a step further and start to pull in information that comes from my ERP system. So I get real-time data directly related to the projects that I'm working on. So in the end, the user dashboards are a huge time saver. You're able to set up the data exactly the way that you want to see it. This way, you spend less time searching around for data and more time getting work done. Next, we're going to switch views and we'll go into the system and show you how we manage those projects directly and how we manage the formulas and materials that go into those projects. Okay, so let's switch views. I'm going to go up here to my application switcher and we're going to select Optiva. This is the main page in Optiva. This is where a user would start when they want to actually manage projects or put together new formulations or manage materials, specifications within the system. Within this view, I'm able to access a menu that allows me to create all those new items. I can search. If I'm a regulatory person, I can administer rules related to labeling right here. As we move down through the screen, you'll see we have several sections. Right here, we have wizards. Wizards allow us to capture information through the use of forms. They also allow us to automate certain processes. We can place these buttons on a user's desktop so that they have access to all these functions. As we move across the screen, we've got recently saved and recently viewed items. This again is a time saver in that we don't have to go searching around for information. Things that we've just been working on or things that we looked at as a result of work that we've been doing within the system. The last 10 items that we either hit the save button on or that we navigated to are displayed here in these two fields. Down at the bottom of the screen, we have the pending task list. We're able to access all the tasks that have been assigned to us from this list. For example, here we have a number of project tasks. I can act upon those tasks directly from the list, either signing off on the task, sending it back to the originator, viewing what my task is. In some cases, I can reassign a task to others. Again, this is totally based on a user's role within the system and the task that's being assigned. So let's take a look at a project within the system. I'm going to take a look at this task that I have assigned to me. It's an R&D approval phase. If I want to see what I need to do, all I have to do is click on the View button. When I click on the View button, I get a message that pops up on the screen. This is my work instruction. It's telling me exactly what it is that I need to do at this phase of the project. Work instructions are important in that you can start to take that tribal knowledge that you have within your organization and translate it into a system. For new people coming into your organization, this is going to be extremely helpful. And for those who have been around a while, it'll give them a gentle reminder as to what needs to be done at a certain phase of the project. I'm going to click OK, and you'll notice that in the background, the project has opened up. This is what we refer to as the project form. You'll see that I have the primary form data. It's broken up into different sections, and this is where I can start to capture all the information related to a project. Who's involved, what's the basic timing, as well as basic marketing information right here. Off to the left, I have a relation view that's showing me all of the different related items for this particular project. Here I can see a link back to the original idea that spawned the project. By linking all of this information together, we're maintaining continuity of all the data within the system. Down here at the bottom, I have another section where I can capture technical parameter information. So all the nitty-gritty about the project. What kind of claims are we trying to make against this product that we're developing? Are there any cost constraints that we're looking to hit? What is the packaging configuration going to look like? Again, all this information can be captured here within the technical parameters section. As the project advances through the different stages, individuals that are accessing the project are able to see all this information in one place. No longer will people have to go searching around for this type of data. Off on the side here, I have the ability to add related documentation. In this case, I have a product image that I've added. I can click through here and we can see additional data, such as a marketing brief, and also information related to the gluten-free product category. All this can be shared amongst team members when they access the project. We also have a place here where we can make references to other objects within the system. Objects can be formulas that we're developing directly related to the project, labels that have been developed for this product, any type of special packaging that we're looking to use, and also direct links to any vendors, special vendors that we're using, or customers that the product is being developed for. Finally, we have the Custom Tables tab. Within this tab, we can configure tables of information. These tables might have been something that you were tracking in a spreadsheet before. Now that you have it here within the system, you can have this data directly related to your project. Also, because you have this data within the system, you can now report against it. In this case, I'm tracking project samples for this cookie project. We can see who the customer is, what the formula was that was sent out to them, batch references, when it was sent, and even comments as to how the sample was received. So that's all the data as it relates to the project, but we also manage the project workflow itself. We can access the workflow information by clicking on the Manage Project button. When I click on the Manage Project button, I can see the Gantt chart with all of the related tasks, and I can see this table which contains all of the steps of my project along with the timing, the completion dates as they're tracked, original start date and due date, as well as who is responsible for each of the steps along the way. As a project manager, I can further make adjustments to my project from this view. For instance, if I needed to change the start date of a task, I could do it directly here from this window. In this case, I'm going to switch the start date to today's date. I can click the Recalculate Dates button, and it's going to shift my entire project over. Notice that all of the relationships between the tasks have been kept in place, and the rest of the start dates and due dates will be adjusted to reflect these changes. So not only can I adjust the project dates, but I can also adjust who is responsible for each of the tasks. I can look up individuals within my organization and reassign them to the task. Then moving forward, that individual will get all notifications related to that task. We can also further filter the views of the information that we have displayed here in the chart. At the top, I have a task filter. When I click on it, I can filter out just my tasks or tasks related to my role or my group directly from this view. So if I want to have a simplified view as to what I'm responsible for, I can do that right here. Also, if I want to see a very high-level stage gate view of the process, I can click on the Stages tab. From within the Stages tab, this is where I can see a very high-level overview of the project. I can see all the stages and gates and the progress that's been made thus far. In this case, I can see that this task and gate has been completed, and I can see that these tasks right here are currently in progress. So once again, we can see that by combining all of the information together in a single view, people are going to spend less time searching around for the data that they need to do their job, and instead focus in on the important things or even the fun things related to their job, product development, bringing that new product to market. So speaking of products, we're going to switch our view and we're going to go ahead and take a look at a formula within the system. I happen to have a formula bookmarked over here in my Bookmarks tab. Here's our cookie that we've been working on. I'm going to click on it and open it up in the main window. Here's a view of our cookie formula. You'll note that off to the left-hand side, I have a complete listing of all of the ingredients that go into this cookie. In the middle of the page, I have the basic information about the formulation and also information related to the status of the formula. Down at the bottom, I have my parameter information. So this is the roll-up data that's coming from all of the materials that we have contained within the formula. In this way, we can get a quick view as to what are the allergens that are contained within the formulation. What kind of claims can I make against this formula? Again, it's all based off of the materials that I have added. By managing regulatory information at the material level, we're able to roll all the data up to the formula. Again, this is going to be a time saver for everyone involved. The information required to bring a product to market is going to be right there, and we're going to spend less time pulling the information together and calculating that data. In this case, I have my nutrition facts panel right here calculated in this table. If I want to view this information in a label-ready format, I can output it using my reports. We'll click on the Reports tab and select one of the reports that we have here in the system. These reports are configurable by the user. In this case, we have a number of different nutrition facts panel outputs. I'm going to select the tabular output, and we'll take a look at that. Optiva grabs all the information from the formulation and places it into a form like this. In this case, we have our nutrition facts panel, we have our ingredient statement, signature line, and allergen statement all within one view. Again, these views can be configured to match whatever the company needs. Let's take a look at the formula itself by clicking on the Item Lines tab. By clicking on the Item Lines tab, I expose the formulation. We have the ability to filter our views by clicking this drop-down list. I have a number of views that I've set up, In this case, I have one that displays the cost of the materials, as well as making some basic calculations around extended cost, future cost, the cost of manufacturing this product externally. I have an inventory marker here as well. All that information can be coming from your ERP system and then displayed here within the formula. As a product developer pulls in new materials to a formula, the costs will be displayed immediately, and they'll be able to get a sense for what the final product cost will be. Let's take a look at how easy it is to add a new material to a formula. I'm going to add a new row, select the description field, and start typing. You'll note that as I start to type, a list of ingredients starts to populate down below. Then all I need to do is select the ingredient that I want to use, input how much of that material I'm going to have in the formula, and click Save. Now that I've clicked Save, you can see immediately I've pulled in the cost for the material, and calculations have been made to show how much the updated cost of the overall formulation is. It's just that simple. So that was a brief overview of some of the tools that are available within Optiva PLM. We've only scratched the surface in this brief demonstration today. If you'd like to learn more about Optiva, please contact us and we'll get in touch with you so that we can provide a more in-depth demonstration. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.